So one slight practice underway there. They'll know now for this time in this Junior Women's 8s event underway here. Hinksey Sculling School on the bottom of your picture, King's School Chester on the top of your picture. And I was just saying before we had that false start, one of the wonderful new events we've got here at the Regatta. How delighted are you to see these Junior Women's 8s going down the track?
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. It's something that we've been working towards for some time. And it's great to see. This is the 4th race of the day in Junior Women's 8s. And I think it's credit to Junior Women's Rowing that all of these crews have come and shown real technical class, actually. And we can see that right now in the Hinksey Sculling School crew. There's real synchronicity there that we can see so well from the air. And that seems to have helped take them out to a healthy lead. Looked like a good 2 lengths when we cut from the start to about halfway. You can see there's really clean blade work, blades coming out together, squaring at the same time. It's a joy to see.
It is a joy to see. And Hinksey Sculling School, based in Oxford, they're in Oxfordshire, and so not too far for them to come here to the Regatta. And the first time again for all of these athletes racing at the Regatta, and this event being introduced more important than ever, I feel, after the year and a half that we've had, where there's been limiting racing for all juniors and for all athletes. To see these athletes out here enjoying it is just wonderful. And this Hinksey crew are really proficient. They are moving away here from King's School Chester on the Berkshire station. And I just really like their length through the drive here. It's really nice that they're moving the boat well.
They are, you're right. There's a nice long arc. They're coming out quite long around the rigger, holding the finish. And what they're doing here is putting some distance on a crew which came 4th at national schools in Girls' Championship 8. So it's not as if King's School Chester doesn't have good form. They do, but they're not really in this one, sadly. And it's an opportunity for Hinksey to show us their class.
Yeah, and Hinksey, a bit of a mix of crews coming. They've raced at Henley Women's and they've raced at the British Junior Championships, but in smaller crews, in quads and doubles. So to come together and make an 8 work well, which you got, 8 different techniques and the Cox trying to pull it all together, really challenging to bring together in such a short amount of time. And both of these crews have done that really well. Actually, that close-up shot we just saw of King's School Chester, they're doing some really nice things around the finish. They're very well together. I just think there's a little bit more length and drive in that Hinksey crew.
I think that's spot on, it's length. If you look at the King's School Chester, they're just rowing that little bit shorter in the water, and rowing is a sport that's really about leverage. The longer the lever and the longer the degree of leverage that you can apply in the water, ultimately the faster you'll go. Now there's some steering going on there. We can see that Hinksey have come right across out of their water, and the umpire there, Gwyn Batten, had to warn them to get back on their station. Slightly unnecessary at this stage of the race, with it well under control.
Now, I don't know, Neil, maybe their coach has said to them, look, if you get enough distance and you get it, because sometimes you do get that right, your coach will say if you've got enough distance, maybe worth trying to push across into the other crew's water, just to give them a bit of dirty water, to try and get out the stream a little bit. Do you think that's a tactic that they've taken quite literally and gone, oh yes, I must get over because that's what we've been told we need to do?
It's a possibility. I hope not, because that tactic is also slightly unsporting, at least from my perspective. It's also a bit unnecessary. I mean, I think they had a couple of lengths of clear water, and so there wouldn't have been much to gain in terms of slowing down their opposition at this point. It may well be that the Cox just lost sight of whatever it was, whatever the marker was that she was pointing at, just momentarily. And that's the thing. On this course, if you lose focus from a steering perspective, only momentarily, it can take you, off course quite dramatically and require quite a degree of correction.
And when you're in between those booms, it doesn't look like it's a big sort of wide lane, but it it's pretty vast, and so, as you say, lose concentration for just a moment, you could find yourself drifting without a buoyed line in the middle to separate the crews just over into the other crew's water. But there you have it, a really emphatic performance there for the crew from Hinksey Sculling School in this junior women's 8s event. Well, they still look pretty exhausted despite the fact that they won very comfortably. And coming into the finish now, this is the King's School Chester crew racing in this historic new junior women's 8s event. They must be extremely proud to be racing here on the Royal Course. But there are your winners, Hinksey Sculling School.